And we're live. We're live. So now they can start coming in.
Cool.
Okay. And we're live. We're live. So now they can start coming in.
Cool.
Okay. And we're live. We're live. So now they can start. Oh, it's the video.
Cool.
The video's on
Okay.
there.
So we don't want to hear it.
I muted it. There. Now we won't hear it.
So hard to watch myself talk.
Get used to it. All right, testing audio. Yep, we're good. Seeing that going to do. So yeah. 1 o'clock. If anyone can hear us, you're welcome to say hello in the text chat. Hello. All right, people are watching. 16. Cool. So in other words, hi, Michelle. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, we had people showed up. Okay. Hey, Lorna, Lindsay, Marla. Awesome. People came. All right. Just curious, are any of you out there possibly one of my students, or are you other professor students? Hi, Kimmy. So far, I can pronounce everyone's name. So that's
cool. Always a bonus.
At least I think I'm saying it right. Okay. All right, I'm going to move this over.
Okay.
Because I think more of them are talking to us on the YouTube page. Kimberly, you're in my class. Wonderful. Which one are you in with me? I have 8 different courses this fall. Wow. They're all different. So we'll talk about that too in email. Let your professor know what class you're in. That's why it's important. Good afternoon, Dylan. Welcome. Oh, we have 18. Oh, it went up. Okay. I'm waiting just a couple of minutes because I think we all know human nature and people may be coming in a little late. It is funny to watch this on the delay.
It's very bizarre.
There, I'll do this so I can fake us out.
Okay.
I'm covering that just a little bit there.
That helps.
Little things we're learning too. You know, like, cause this is my first live YouTube video. I've always just done Google Hangouts where it's just that screen. So it's interesting to see that there's a delay between the two. Michelle, hello. Okay, 103. I'll have one more question for all of you that are here. How many classes are you taking this fall? All of you that showed up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the chat's working well. I can see everything popping up. Michelle, you're taking 5, 4. That's a lot. And then, we have 2 Michelles. Got it. 2, 2. And then you know what? I bet, 3 labs. Dylan. Okay. You ain't playing around. 5. Wow. 4. After awesome.
Nice. Welcome, Michelle.
I have to tell you, students who, and we'll say this in class, like all of you are special, okay? When I say this, all of our students are special. But of course, we have a soft spot in our hearts for those students who are coming back after 10, 20, 30. I've had some students 40 years out of academia, you know, or from high school or college coming back. You are some of our best students. We love having those students in class. So welcome back, Michelle Perrin. That's awesome. Yeah, and I bet too, even though some of you that type 2, I bet you're working full time or taking care of people or you have other responsibilities. So, you know, 2 can be a lot even if you're working full time. Okay, it is 1:05, so we are going to go ahead and start the show. And it looks like, I'm just checking, 19. Okay, we got about 20 people here watching, so more people might show up, which is great. Hi, Holly. I don't know if I said hi to Holly yet. Wonderful. All right. I'm not sure if you all have, I wondered if I could put this in the link for all of you in the text chat. And yes, you know what? I think I can. Just in case you want to follow along on your computer. Let me see if this works. Okay, in the text chat, I just posted a link to our presentation. It's the outline of our presentation. So you know like about how long we're taking, what's coming up next. So hopefully that link works for all of you if you want to follow along. And yeah, it looks like I'm watching my document, and that means the little avatars. That means they're great. That's people. Okay, it works. Awesome. So you don't have to look at that while we're talking. It's just there if you want to, if it helps. Great. Thank you, Dylan. Lindsay, awesome. Thank you. Oh, 21. It's going to keep going up. Y'all came. We're just so happy that you showed up. Okay. We're like, okay. All right. Let me get this back to the screen so it doesn't bother us. All right. So for the first half of this presentation, again, I'm Rosalind Francis. I teach English composition, literature, student life skills, humanities courses. I'm a geek. I focus on science fiction in that course. Gosh, I teach other subjects as well. So I wanted to put this together and come closer.
Come closer. Okay.
Come closer. All right. So I wanted to put this webinar together for all of you students, so you start the semester off on the right foot. To also help with maybe myths or misconceptions on how much effort is expected of you in your college courses, but also to let you know on the flip side of that, like, yes, in this webinar, I'm going to be talking a lot about student expectations, but I'll also, within that, telling you what you should expect of your professors as well, right? This is I would say relationship, but it's teamwork, you know, like between both of us, and like what a good professor should do for their students and what a good student should do for their professors. So I'll give you some tips and tricks too if you have questions or things that you're going to work out in classes where maybe you're not intimidated, should say, but maybe a little nervous to ask for help. I'll give you some tips on how to do that. Okay, and so Lisa's going to talk a little bit later, but Lisa, your current title is?
So right now I'm an academic and career advisor, and on Tuesday I'll be starting as the Associate Director of Admissions, and I'll be on South Campus. Working with South, Deerwood, and North. And I'm very excited to be starting that position. But today I'm here in my advising capacity to share a little bit with you on the other side of the house, the advising piece. So both what you can expect from your advisors and how you can partner with us to make sure that you have the best experience possible while you're here.
Awesome. Perfect. So while we're talking, you all see that the text chat is working. We're excited about that. So feel free to ask a question in the text chat. If I can't stop and answer it immediately, I'll go back and scroll and answer your questions. I might answer some just a text chat back to you, or if it's something that's useful for the group, maybe I might repeat it and repeat your question out loud. So feel free to make comments, ask questions, whatever you want to do in the text chat while we're talking. It doesn't bother us at all. Yeah. That'll be great. Okay, so I was going to say at the beginning of the webinar things on webinar etiquette, on muting microphones and background noise, but I don't think that's a problem the way this is set up. So we can skip right past that. We can't hear you anyways. Moving on. All right. Okay, so professor tips for success. That's the first part of this webinar. All right, so if you're following along on that Google document, we're in part 1. Okay, so in part 1 of what professors expect of college students, I'm going to focus in now on the student etiquette online and in the classroom. So your first impression. So it's different based on the modality you're taking the course. When we say modality, we forget to define a lot of these terms for students. Modality means, are you taking a course face-to-face? Is it a hybrid course? Is it online? If you don't know what hybrid even means, we'll get to all that. So in a face-to-face or hybrid course, first impression, don't be late. I know that's mind-blowing, but it really matters. Don't be late, okay, on your first day of class. Now, let's say something happens, you had a flat tire, you had some family emergency beyond your control, you didn't procrastinate and get ready late or leave late, like something truly happened that made you late beyond your control. Still go to class, go on in the rooms, you know, walk in quietly, don't make a lot of noise, you know, find a seat, and then when the class is over, go up to your professor and explain, you know, apologize for why you were late, explain why you were late. It's not a pattern you're going to have, but you just wanted that, even if they just look at you and go, and whatever, do nothing else, it matters. It really matters whether they give you an acknowledgement to you making that effort or not. So that's a little tip there. So of course, be on time. For your first day, have stuff that you're taking notes with. Have pen and paper. Some classes allow laptops. That's really hit or miss. It depends on the professor and the type of class that it is. So don't assume that you're going to be able to take notes on a laptop unless you are a student with disability services and you have to have a laptop. That's a completely different situation. But just heads up, have paper and pen, you know, something to take notes with on the first day. Sit up. I know little things, but like don't be like this like, in your first day of class. Don't look like you're falling asleep. Okay, like sit up, be engaged, look your professor in the eye. I don't know, like follow along with what they're doing. I know like this stuff sounds like common sense to a lot of you, but it really matters. It really matters. So pretend it's even like you're on a job interview on the first day of class, and you want to give off the impression. What's the word I'm looking for? Not body language. Is it body language? Nonverbal communication. There you go. That's it. Nonverbal communication. You want to give off the impression that like, hey, I'm here and I'm a serious student and I care about my education. And it speaks volumes. Of course, a biggie. Texting. Don't be texting on your phone on the first day or any day. Unless your professor specifically says, you know, you can relax right now. We haven't started class yet, but don't text on your phone during class. It's very distracting for the person who's up in front of the class giving a presentation. And like the whole point of that is engagement with you and looking at you and you looking back at them. Maybe you ask questions or you're thinking about the concept. But if you're texting, it like sucks the energy out of that. And they may not always call you out or say something, but trust me, we know who you are. We remember, okay? Even if you're in a computer lab in the back row, at least I can say, I know if you're texting all the way in the back row in the computer lab in the corner. I can tell if you're like this or, you know, on your computer. So things like that. All right, so how to be a model student online and or in the classroom. So I probably will kind of touch on this concept as we go along here, but a model student is all of those things that I just said. And also on the first day, first week of your course, look at your syllabus, look at the calendar of activities, and make a plan immediately as a model student. When are your due dates? Put them in a calendar, like mark them down immediately so you're never caught in like, when's this due? I don't know. That shouldn't even be a question that you ever ask. So like mark that immediately. When are your assignments due? When do you have a group project? Is there an oral presentation? Is there a special event listed in the syllabus that you're expected to attend 2 months down the road that you need to let your work know about a month in advance so someone covers your shift or your day or whatever? So a model student plans in advance, knows how the semester pace is going to be, and so you should never be surprised by any due dates. When you're looking at that information as well, make sure to look at the time that things are due as well. But we'll come back to that. Feel free in the text chat if you have any other things like, here's also what a model student should be. Or if some of you watching right now are like, I think I'm already a pretty good student, please, like, you can say, here's my success tip. Like, you feel free to share those kind of things. In an online class, to be a model student, the first impression in that first week, log in. So classes open this fall term on a weird day. It's Friday, right. August 31st. I have to tell all of you, I'm treating that differently with my classes. And so check in with your professors or look on Blackboard or check your email. Even though like our classes are opening August 31st, like for example, I've told my online Lit 2000 students, we're really starting Monday. Now it's going to be open Friday, August 31st, but we're going to start Monday. My face-to-face E&C 1101 course, our first class is Tuesday, a week from today. So really like we're going to start our class on Tuesday with our first meeting. So look that up to see when your class starts. But typically classes start on a Monday, not a Friday. It's just a weird thing this semester. So in an online class, you should log in the first day. Look at the syllabus. What assignments do you have due? For example, in my online classes, they have assignments due Friday and Sunday. So if a student waited till the weekend, they've already missed the deadline for the first assignment that's due. So let's see. Oh, we have a good question from Dylan. I noticed that several of the labs still have TBA on the times. Is that typical of these courses? Do you know the answer to that with the TBA on labs?
Don't know the answer to that. And I have noticed that some of them do still say TBA. I typically suggest that students email the professor to ask about that if that's being coordinated with the professor. But I can try to find out and get back to folks. Will there be a way for us to follow up with it?
If they, you know what? We're going to give them our emails.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So Dylan, that's a good question. Dylan, is it a online course or is it a face-to-face course? And y'all are asking this great question. So Michelle, and hi JJ, hi. Michelle, I can answer your question while Dylan's texting back to us. Your online classes say TBA because they're online the whole semester. So there's no like day and time and a location that your online course meets. So it's just like a generic population thing in the system. It just puts TBA. So there's not, that's why it says TBA for an online course. But typically, Michelle, for most professors, we look at it week to week. So like, a week starts Monday and ends on Sunday. But again, look at your syllabus. It might be a little different for every professor. If they have assignments due Friday or Sunday, like for example, my assignments are due Sundays at 11 p.m. because if I make it 11:59, students wait till 11:59 and they're emailing me after 11 p.m. and I'm like, that's too late. So mine are due at 11, but other professors might say before midnight, stuff like that. I hope that answered your question. Dylan says all three are in person. So the TBA probably just means, I'm trying to think when I had a lab. It's been a long time. I feel like the lab, Dylan, was like right after class. So if it's a lab, I'm assuming that's 4 credits. Like if it's a lab attached to it.
Well, a lab can either be 1 credit on its own, or it can be sort of the 4th credit attached to a class. Like if Principles of Biology 1 will be 4 credits and that'll include the lab. But if you're taking Life in its Biological Environment, you could take a 1-unit lab along with it. That's not necessarily associated.
Okay, good call. All right. So it sounds like, yeah.
I'll need to research that one just a little bit and find out how you're going to get that information, Dylan.
So yeah, it sounds like Dylan for sure. If you see your professor and like if you want to go ahead and email them, that would probably be a good question to ask or see if it's going to be in the syllabus. But we can follow up too. JJ's in Lit 2000. Woo, cool. All right. So yeah, so for a model online student, you're checking in day 1. You're yes, Dylan, good call. You're looking at every syllabus, you're looking at due dates. If you have questions about how the Blackboard course works, week 1 is when you ask the professor. This is, I won't call it a pet peeve, but maybe don't do this. You've waited to ask a technical question about an assignment. Like, I don't know how to submit this, but you're asking it 10 minutes before it's due on Sunday night. So look at stuff early. Look at how it's supposed to be submitted early. Do you need to download and install Microsoft Word? Most of us have our assignments, I would say 99% of us, assignments are submitted using Microsoft Word, but you have access to it for free. So you don't need to buy the Microsoft Suite, PowerPoint, Excel, Word, all that stuff. You have access to it for free via your FSCJ student email account. You go into settings, and then you can find the Microsoft Office Suite, and you can download it onto your computer for free. So just be mindful of those things as well. Okay, moving on. So well, it kind of goes, actually, I guess my mind was in that place already. So preparing for course assignments and submission of assignments. So preparing for course assignments, here's a tip for success. Read the directions at the beginning of the week. I'm not saying like, and you need to open the course on Monday and do all of your assignments on Monday and be super, super prepared. Log in and like skim the assignment, skim the directions. Does that way, if you know, oh gosh, I have no idea what this assignment is asking of me, I'm so confused, you ask your professor that question on Monday or Tuesday. Wednesday, okay. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're pushing it, because again, your professors aren't robots, just like you're not a robot. So let's say you ask for help on Wednesday, but maybe you don't hear back until Friday. Okay, well now that puts you at Friday for the assignment that's due Sunday. So that's why just, try to ask for help or just clarification of something as early as you can in the week. Now, of course, we are all human and you are all human. Sometimes maybe you're going to be so busy during the week that you can't look at, begin your assignment till the weekend. But just keep in mind, if that's how you're setting things up for yourself, that could be challenging down the road. So even if you're super busy during the week, take 10 minutes, take 5 minutes, look over what your assignments are due that week and look over the directions. Just briefly skim to make sure there's nothing glaring that you're going to need help with. So submission of assignments. This can be a big, you can get a 0 for submitting an assignment in the wrong format. So really take this seriously. However your professor is asking you to submit an assignment, follow that action. There's a reason. We're not just randomly saying Microsoft Word just because. Like Microsoft Word because it's submitted to our plagiarism detection service that way. And I can open it and edit it if I need to, or I can tell if Blackboard's making something look weird in your submission preview panel, I can download the document like, oh, okay, it was supposed to look like this, no problems. So there's the reason behind it. How and when to ask for help. Okay, so I kind of mentioned for an online class, again, ask for help as soon as you can during the week, early. Also, we have tutoring online and face-to-face. You can ask tutors for a homework question. You don't have to only reach out to tutors when it's a huge paper that you're writing. It can be for a paragraph help, a thesis help, math homework, psychology homework, Spanish homework, accounting, all kinds of resume and cover letter. They can help you with that kind of stuff. Librarians, I'm really pushing students to reach out to the librarians for help on their research assignments. They are amazing. We have the best librarians here at FSCJ, and they will help you acquiring your scholarly sources or better sources for your assignments. Reach out to them. You can call them, you can text them, you can email them, you can set an appointment to meet them face-to-face, and you will have a librarian all to yourself for half an hour. That's amazing. So take advantage of that.
That's the way they make appointments with the librarians.
So you can do that online. I would say I use Google to search our website. So I would type into Google like FSCJ librarians. I know, like, it works for me. But I can follow up with that. When you're talking, I'll see if I can find the link. Okay. But yeah, like, there's like a librarian, their homepage on our website. Sure. And you can do the
or our toolbar, probably our search bar.
Yes, I think so. I think that would work. I'll test it out. Google works great to search our website too. Okay. So if you are a face-to-face student on how and when to ask for help, okay. So a little different maybe. You should still look online if you can. If it's a fully face-to-face course, there might not be too much information online in Blackboard. So ask questions after class. Try not to ask questions or too much stuff before class. Here's why. Teaching is a performance. So as we're walking to class, like, at least I can just speak for myself. It's a performance. Like, I'm on for you. So I'm, getting my mind right. I'm going through my paces in my head. I'm like, okay, I want to do this with them first, and this, and that, da, 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 da. And then, like, walking to the instructor station, we have to log on, waiting for the computer to load up, getting all our stuff ready, getting, pulling down the projector. We're getting ready for the show. So try not to ask like I need your help, I'm so confused on this assignment before class. Try not to do that. Either ask an email before, or even if you just let your professor know at the beginning of class, hey, I really have I need help, or I have a question on blank assignment. Can I have a few minutes with you after class today? That's fine. You can say that. That actually sounds really mature too. And then, of course, after class is a good time to ask for help. Now, if some of us have a class immediately after, like, we have one class, then 15-minute break, and then we have another class. So I might not have a lot of time to give you after class, but if it's something that you need longer time with me, that's no problem. You and I will just mutually, make a time that we could meet. And that's what you would do with your other professors too. So, yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say for that. Okay. If you're looking at the outline, you know how like we were all growing up and we would hear like, there's no wrong questions. There's no stupid questions. They're like, yeah. I'm like, can I just, there are. Okay. But again, I say this with a wink and a nod, and I hope you giggle, but I reframe this to how to avoid asking the wrong questions. They exist. Okay. Asking, when is the assignment due? We spend hours putting together our syllabus, our calendar of activities. I plug in due dates in Blackboard in the gradebook as well. I have weekly announcements like, hey, reminder, we're doing this week. It's in the calendar, everything's there. So you should not have to ask when the assignment is due. That would be a wrong question to ask. You can find when the assignment is due. So basic stuff like how many points is this paper worth? That's in the directions. How long is this paper? How long should this paper be? That's in the directions. How many quotes do I need? Read the directions. Is all of this due this week by Sunday? Read the directions. Look at the calendar of activities. So it's like basic stuff, that you have access to already. Those are questions that you should not ask your professor. It doesn't look good.
How about, do we need to know this for the test?
Oh, yeah. So, that's a good one. That's a good one. I'd say that's gray. I'm going to give that gray area.
I know some professors who wouldn't give that gray.
Yeah, I'm going to give gray area on that one.
Okay.
Okay. Because, some classmates are going to be like, this is going to be on the test. Pay attention. Okay, I say that's allowed. Okay, that was a good one. I'm missing class tomorrow. Am I going to miss anything important? Or I missed class. Did I miss anything important? Oh, y'all, never say that. Do not say that ever. Okay. Don't say that ever. Like if you're worried that you missed class and you missed something, just, say that in a different way. Like, sorry, professor, I missed class yesterday. I know we covered X, is there any, maybe an even better, you should ask that to a classmate. Like, get a buddy right away. Like, hey, like, you don't have to be best friends. You don't have to hang out. Okay. Just be like, hey, can we exchange our, student emails, and can we agree that we will help each other out? Like, if you miss class, I'll fill you in with my notes, and vice versa. Even if it's an online class, you can still do that. You can go in the email option and pick people to contact. So we have a question. Currently, Blackboard doesn't have any courses listed. So, Dylan, here's why. We're all working on them right now. So that's why you don't see your courses listed yet. We are panicking. No, we're not panicking, but you know, we are speed racing, getting our courses done. And it just depends. Like I'm rehashing my ENC 1102 course. I've been working on that one for over a week now, like just updating things. Yeah, no rush. Thanks. So yeah, so that's why you don't see your courses yet. We are working on them. Right, because we want them to be the best they can be for all of you, right? Like you all come first. We are here because of you and for you. So we really try our best to make sure our course shells, you know, look great. Things are explained as clearly as possible. We're preparing for maybe the first day of class. So yeah, heads up. If you have a face-to-face class that meets next week, heads up, you might not see your Blackboard shell even open until like that first day of class. But if you're worried, you can reach out to your professors. That was a good question. Yeah, so avoid the wrong questions are just asking things that you can already find, like how many assignments are in this course. I have 787 points at the end of this class. What's my grade? Check the syllabus. There's a whole grade book section that tells you, you know, stuff like that. Questions that you should ask and we love. Ask us like, hey, I'm working through this thesis and I'm having trouble putting it together. Great, that's what we're here for. Ask us those questions or a clarification on an assignment. You say, I have read the directions, okay? I have a question about this part. Totally fine. Yes, that's the type of stuff you should be asking us. Or if you want to pontificate about a subject in class a little bit more, you want more information, that's great. Ask those type of academic, interesting questions to us. I hope that makes sense on the difference of what you should ask, what you should not ask. Okay. Plagiarism. So plagiarism is when, just to make sure we are all on the same page with this, is when you are using someone else's, I don't care if it's a classmate, your sister, your cousin, an academic source online, a blog, when you are using someone else's words as your own. It can be one sentence or a whole paper or a journal entry. If you are using someone else's work as your own and you're not citing it, you're not saying like quoted from or like here's the quoting that part or citing who you took it from, that is plagiarism and that is serious. You can immediately fail a course. You can be expelled from the college. You can be put on academic probation. It's very serious and we catch it all the time. So remember, we have plagiarism detection services that automatically your assignments run through them automatically in Blackboard. So just don't do it. Just don't do it. I've had some students, they were really stressed out. Maybe they procrastinated because they were worried about doing well on the assignment and that was the reason for procrastinating. And then at the last minute, and then they cheated and like just took chunk, you know, from something like, I just have to get something in, and they submitted the assignment and that's not good. That's not good. So don't plagiarize. Don't plagiarize. All right, moving on to the next section, preparing for and maintaining success in your courses. Checking your FSCJ student email. Oh my goodness. When I hear, oh, I never got that message, I don't check my email. Like, no. No, that's not cute. So like, I cannot imagine if I said that to my supervisor. Like, I have 2 emails. I have a Gmail account and a work account. There's no way I could ever say, oh, I don't check that FSCJ account. No, you cannot say that. Oh my goodness. So maybe you're thinking right now, well, thanks, but so now I have to check another email. Okay, let's work smarter, not harder. Go into your FSCJ student email and you can click the, sorry, I get a little animated, Dylan. You can click the option to forward your email, okay? So you don't have to go check 2 emails. Smarter here, smarter, not harder.
And I always hear that, oh, I can't get that one on my phone.
Yes.
But you can forward it.
Yes, you can.
You can.
My email.
It's doable.
Yes, it's on your phone. Yes, so check your email. If you're not going to forward it and you're going to manually log into it, you should check it, I would say, at least 3 times a week. Check it beginning of the week, middle of the week, end of the week, if you're going to do the manual way. What else? If you have a face-to-face class, check your email always the day before a class, because your professors are human too. What if they got sick, car accident, flat tire, a family emergency? Check your email before class, even like an hour before class would be smart too, just to make sure nothing crazy has happened. All right, so checking your email. All right, do that. Reasonable expectations of professor feedback, email, and assignments. Okay, so for example, we open a new week on Monday. You have until Sunday to submit an assignment, maybe sometimes Friday. That's a long time. So because you also have a life outside of school, right? Like you're working or you're working, whatever you're doing, right? You have a life outside of school. So you have, a week to work on stuff. So the same for your professors. When an assignment is due Sunday, do not email your professor on Monday afternoon. Why haven't you graded my paper yet? Like, oh my gosh, I have over 100 students. And I'm teaching, 8 classes. Give them a week. It's like you have a week, give them a week. Now this is on assignment. This is not an email feedback. I'm talking about assignments right now. So give them a week. That's generally the good rule. Some professors may take 2 weeks, but the general rule is like 1 week, So I say, hi, Chando. You said no. I don't know what you're saying no to, but okay. So give them a week. That's if your professor gets your assignment back to you within a week, that's like strongly agree on the eval, like, yes, I got my feedback back in time, da, 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 da. And so typically it should be paced where when you get feedback on something, then you have time to apply that to the next thing. Mm-hmm. So that's a reasonable expectation. Now for email, so the same thing for email. If I email a student, I would give them, 24, 48 hours to get back to me. Like you have a life, okay? So within like a couple days. So same for your professor. If you ask your professor a question, give them 24 to 48 hours to respond to you as well, because they're human too. Now, if it's been 2 days and you haven't heard anything, then it's okay to like, hey, just checking in. I asked, emailed you on da-da-da-da. Totally fine to do that, okay? And then if you've emailed twice, you're not getting a response, look into like maybe what the question is, and also make sure the email is right. This has happened to a student of mine. She was emailing me questions for about 3 weeks, and she finally called me and said, why aren't you answering my emails? I'm like, what? I check my email constantly. She was typing in the wrong email address. It just went to like the ether. I don't know. So make sure the email that you're typing for your professor is spelled correctly. That happens more often than you think. Mm-hmm. I see we have the outside life outside of school. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, no, okay. All right, so Blackboard tips for success. I've kind of already touched on this, but log in. If you have a course that's using Blackboard a lot, log in the second it's open. Click on everything. Can you open everything? Do the links work? Let your professor know. We love hearing from students who let us know if there's a typo or a link isn't working. Oh my goodness, let us know. Or if we have a due date set wrong. It happens, right? We're teaching these courses semester to semester. Like maybe we missed one and it's left on, June 19th when it should say September 19th. It happens. Let us know. We love hearing from you when you tell us those little glitches like that. So Blackboard tips for success, again, log in early, click on everything, make sure you know where everything is. And if you can't find something, reach out to your professor, ask them. That's totally a fine thing to ask. All right, so we're on to the syllabus. I have it all caps, read it. That is so important. And a lot of students don't read it. I'm really surprised at that. That's your
read it and read it again.
Yeah. That syllabus is your contract. Yeah. That is your contract with the course. And really when you read that syllabus, it lets you know like your professor's personality, what really matters to them. So you'll kind of get an idea of their pet peeves based on like, what they really highlight in it. So that's so important. Read your syllabus the first week. Some courses have a syllabus quiz, and be mindful of that. Some professors have a pop quiz on the first day because they open their, I don't do that, but they have a pop quiz on the first day on the syllabus to see if students read it even before coming to class. Now that is not every class, okay? I have heard this. We'll leave it at that.
Good thing to be mindful of.
Yes, and the calendar of activities too. So, purchasing your textbook. So, okay, I would recommend either two things. Either wait till the first day to purchase your book because the bookstore makes errors sometimes. They have the wrong book listed with a course. It has happened. I say there's nothing wrong with if you want to email the professor, like, hey, I just see that this is just making sure it's the right book. I know the bookstore has made mistakes in the past. Don't say, do I need to purchase this book? See, there's so much in language, little things to be mindful of. Don't say in the email, do I need this book for your class? Say, hello, professor, whatever the last name, new line. I see X book is listed for your class. I just want to make sure this is the correct book, as I know errors have happened in the past with the bookstore. There you go. You've said the same thing, but tone and your implied meaning are everything. So there's a little tip for you on that. All right, and then mark your calendar with due dates. So in my syllabus, that's like my course policies and what you're expected to do in my class and the late policy, all that kind of stuff. And then I have a link to my calendar of activities with the due dates. It's a whole separate document. So I'm just saying, like, you might need to look at 2 documents. Just depends on your professor, okay? So like for my students, they need to read their syllabus and they need to read their calendar of activities. So immediately week 1, use your smartphone. There's a million apps out there to help with studying and staying on track with things and time management. Or if you use a paper calendar still, I have a bestie out there, if she's watching, another professor who still uses a calendar, a paper calendar, print calendar. Mark your due dates week 1. Mark them week 1 in your life because things are going to happen. You're going to have a wedding to go to. Someone's having a baby. You're having a baby. There's going to be a funeral you have to go to. A new job. You got laid off of a job. Life happens. Life happens. So what I recommend too, if there's any assignments that you can work on ahead of time or submit early, that's always a good thing to do because life happens. And with that part about the mark your calendar with due dates, if you're going on a cruise and I have no vacation plans at all for this fall, and you're asking me, can you turn in all your work late because you're going on a cruise for a week in the middle of the semester? This is not a hypothetical, folks. This has been asked. And to some of my colleagues as well. Don't do that. So, great if you're going on a cruise. There's a few things with that. Remember, you're choosing to sign up for this course and take this course and be in college. So if you've planned a vacation in the middle of your term, which, whatever, okay. So you've planned to be gone in the middle of your term. Look at the attendance policy. Invite the whole class. Okay, that I would be okay with. Yeah. So look at the attendance policy. Can you miss 1 or 2 classes and it won't hurt your grade? Well, then you're fine. So be on top of not missing any other classes, okay? So you're good. And then if you've got assignments due that week when you're gone, do them ahead of time. You're golden. You're all set. And actually, you look pretty cool. Like, hey, all right, this person knew they were going on a vacation, but they didn't miss any other classes or whatever. They followed the attendance policy and they took care of their assignments early. That's amazing, and that's what you should do. Let's say you have a oral presentation or a group presentation that is planned the week that you will be out of town. I wish I had a clear-cut answer for all of you on this. It depends on the professor. It depends on the assignment. that is a case-by-case basis. You will get a range of answers to that question from, no problem, I'll work with you. You can give your speech another week in my office, to the other end of, no, you cannot miss this, and you cannot make it up, and you'll earn a 0 if you miss it. It just depends on the professor, the assignment, the stipulations around it. So if that is the case that you're in, you ask your professor that immediately. Oh, that's a good tip too. Do not wait the day before you're leaving. I'm gonna be gone the next 2 weeks. Mom, is anything important? Oh my goodness. That is not what happened. Don't do that. So like, talk to us immediately in the beginning. Let us know what's up. That makes you look professional, responsible, proactive. Don't put that off. Don't put that off. Okay. Planning your study sessions. So I'm going to go over this in my E&C 1102 course online, but planning your study sessions, make sure you are looking at your week. Okay, so in my online classes, I can go look at the data, and there's Sunday-itis. You can see this chart of when like students log into the course and when they're doing assignments, and the Sunday is like, bleep. Okay, so don't wait until the last day to do all of your assignments. That's crazy. What if you get sick? What if you had a chance to go do something fun and you can't because you've locked yourself in your house all day? But you know what? Beyond all of those things, mental energy. It is incredibly hard to, let's say you've got 3 online classes and they all have homework due on Sunday, and you waited till Sunday to do all of that. The caliber of your work is going to suffer. And hey, you might pull it off. I mean, procrastinators procrastinate because they feel like they can get away with it. And maybe sometimes they have. So you might get away with it. I mean, get A's and B's, more power to you, but sometimes you won't. And also, let's say you get away with it and you get all A's and like, oh, great job. And you're like, haha, I waited till Sunday and I did all that in one day. So it's incredibly stressful to do that to yourself. Again, you're banking on that you have the mental energy to do that. But also, like, you could miss things. Eventually, that's not going to work for you. Something's going to happen, right? And you're going to be like, oh, crap, this is going to take me 6 hours to do, and I still have 2 other courses of homework. Maybe you skim things, or you skimp on your education. So study sessions. The general rule is for every credit hour that you have, at least, and this has changed. It used to be a lot more. 2 hours of study time per credit hour. So if you have a 3 credit hour course, that's 2, 4, 6. That is 6 hours of study time that you should plan for. And by the way, that's a minimum. If you know that you need more time to read, you need more time to process directions, you're just, you have a small child at home and you're going to, have to be like, oh, 20 minutes, I got to go change a diaper, whatever. 6 hours is minimum. Now, keep in mind that's even if you have a face-to-face class. Okay, that's 6 hours study time outside of class. If it's an online class you're taking, well, those 3 hours that were in class, they're now done on your own time. So now you have the 6 hours plus your 3 hours. Now you're up to 9 hours per class of study time. And again, this varies for each student. You might need 12 hours per class. So with that amount of time involved, and it depends on the assignments you have that week, of course, like some weeks will be less, some weeks might be more. Log in on Monday, make a plan based on what your assignments you have, and you know yourself, and you know how much time that you need. Do you need to make a study session for yourself on maybe like Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday? Space it out. Don't plan to do everything in one day. Okay, now if you have a life where you're like, I can only do everything on one day, that's really challenging. And I feel bad for you if that's the case. And if that's the case, talk to your professor. I want to know if I have a student that and don't play games, okay? Really, truly, you working 60 hours and you got 3 kids, okay? You're like, I can only do stuff on Sundays. Talk to your professor. Okay, oh, no worries, JJ. But planning your study sessions, make them for a few times a week. Really, the credit hour thing is modeled after our industrial society and part-time work status and full-time work status. That's where those hours come from. So truly treat your study sessions and time just like you would a job that you have to show up for a certain amount of hours to get paid, right? Even though, like, as a professor, my hours might be flexible, I still have to turn in a workload document describing my hours and how I'm spending my 40 hour. That's adorable. Anyway, 40-hour work week. Much more than that. Anywho, like, we all have to account for those hours. So treat your study sessions the same way, okay? That you need those hours. Lisa will talk a little bit more about this, the tutoring services and library services. I'll let you can touch on that.
Okay.
And then time management, we're talking about this, time management and avoiding procrastination. So again, make a plan. Make a plan for your week. When are you working? When do you have to pick up the kids, put the kids to bed? Where are those hours, 30 minutes here, an hour here, a morning, an evening? When are you going to work on your assignments to avoid procrastination and effectively manage your time? You will absolutely procrastinate if you leave stuff vague in your mind, like, I'll do that this weekend. I'll do that later this week. And you just, we convince ourselves of that.
Sure.
Make a plan. Put it in your calendar, in your notes, whatever it is. That, like, I will do X from 6 to 7 p.m. and give it an end time too. I notice that helps students. Well, I hear this too. I'm going to do that on Thursday. Be more specific than that. What time are you going to do that assignment or that part of an assignment? Or maybe it's just the reading for the assignment. You're going to read and take notes. Give it a start and stop time, just like you do for your job or if you go to the gym. Okay. End of term procedures and student expectations. So at the end of a course, it is so important. You look on, when is the professor saying, review your final grade beginning this date, and then that window to review it ends this date. Again, your professors are human too. What if they forgot to upload an extra credit thing that you did? Or there's, Blackboard's weird. Like, if you had a 0 for something, but you did like a revision of it and like it maybe won't populate the updated grade, let your professor know. So that's the time to be vigilant about your final grade. Look at it, look at the points, make sure you understand what your grade is. If there's something wrong in your grade book, that's the time to fix it. And then with student evaluations, be specific in your student evaluations. If you looked at class, which is awesome, but why? Like, this was a great class because. And then the opposite is true. If you were really disappointed in a course or you didn't like it or whatever, if you just write in the eval, this class sucked, or like, I didn't like this class, or like, I'm disappointed, and that's all you say, that is equally like thrown out with the like, this was great, because like great can mean anything, and like this was terrible, terrible can mean anything. So always be specific when you leave feedback. Like, if you didn't like the course, explain why. If you did like the course, explain why. That type of feedback is so helpful for us, so we can continue to, improve our courses, reflect on feedback. So just all we ask is just be specific. That is really helpful when you do those student evaluations at the end. Okay. All right. And then the last part here, the college experience, just like things to be mindful of, so you're not just going to class and that's it. There are, every semester, we have a ton of academic events outside of the classroom. My goodness, I couldn't even name all of the topics right now. Any topic you can think of, we're doing it. A lot of times the months are themed. There's different events at every campus. Sometimes there's webinars like this. So look at what you can do outside of the class to enrich your college experience while you're a college student. This is a special and precious time in your life. Doesn't matter what age you are, okay? If you're 16 or 65, while you're a college student, take advantage of everything that you can. Go to those academic events. I have to say, from my college experience from a long time ago, I remember still to this day a lecture that I attended as extra credit for a class. Like, I remember that. Maybe the class stuff is kind of fuzzy. Go to those events. You will really be surprised at what it makes you think about, what it opens your mind to, enrich your life with those things. And then so volunteering, civic engagement, internships. So while you're a student, you know, when you have that college degree, you're like, okay, I've got the degree, and you go to apply for the job, and then what does it say? Needs 2 to 3 years experience in the field. You're like, well, I've been a college student. What? Okay, so here's how you play that game. While you're a college student, you volunteer, you look for internships, you're civically engaged in your community, find things that you can do somewhat related to the field you want to go into. So when you apply, like, okay, here's my college degree, but you know what? Here's the experience that I did volunteering for, or I was in an internship, or some type of civic engagement thing that you did. No worries. Do those things while you're a student, and then you just, you beat the system at its own game. And then lastly, I would say, join an active is an important word, an active student club, or create one. We have so many student clubs. There's a soccer club that I'm an advisor for. But yeah, so there's so many clubs. If you feel like, man, like I only go to class and then I go home and I don't know anybody here and I don't want to like hang out in the cafeteria and go up to random strangers.
Jasmel's looking for something to do.
Okay. Oh no, that was from the cruise. He was going to say they can invite the whole class.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
he was thinking of all of us.
You can get involved with student activities if you don't have a cruise to go on.
Yeah, right. So be involved. That's the way that you can, connect with people outside of class. And this is legit. Studies show, at the end of my part, studies show if you are part of an organization at school beyond your class, because your class unit begins and ends, then poof, then it's gone. Studies show that if students are part of an organization, a club, athletic team, something, student government would be fantastic. If you're part of something that ties you to the institution, you are statistically more likely to succeed and complete your degree on time. So get involved beyond just being a student. Lisa?
All right.
You're up.
Well, thank you. That was great. Let's see. So we talked about FSCJ student emails a little bit, but I'm going to hit it one more time because over and over, even students who have been with us for quite some time will come in and they'll say, oh, no, I don't check that email. Or some people even say, I don't have an FSCJ email. Well, you do. And if you log into your student portal on My FSCJ and you look at that little upper right-hand corner, you'll see a little envelope, and that's your email, and you can click on it and see it, and that's for manually logging in. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to put it on your phone too, you can do that as well. But back to the portal. So the portal is My FSCJ, which you can log into directly, or if you're lazy like me, you can just go to fscj.edu and look to the log into button, and My FSCJ is right there. That's going to open up to your student portal. You're going to go to your student center, and just like your email, you want to be logging into this very regularly. So I know you all use fill in the blank, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, whatever your preferred social media is. So when you log into those things, you need to also be logging into My FSCJ. Why? Because you're going to always take a look at your holds and to-dos. And especially at this time of year or right before the start of a session, you want to make sure that you're in the classes you think you're in. One of the big things that is going on for a lot of our students right now in advising is they're finding that they've been dropped from a class. And that's, disconcerting when you think you're in a class and here we are getting ready to start the term. And that can happen for a couple of different reasons. One, there are some classes that didn't fill and they are not at an enrollment level that we're going to hold the course. So then we need to get you moved into another course. So that can happen. And if you don't check your student portal and you don't know, you may show up to a class that isn't being held. So really important to check that portal. The other reason some folks are being dropped is if they don't have their financial aid in place yet and haven't made a personal payment. So if you don't have your financial aid in place yet, sometimes that can be because we didn't complete the FAFSA or something like that. And sometimes it's because you've been one of those students who was selected for verification. And if that's happened to you, you know it because you had to go through a little online process. Some of those verifications are still being processed. And While we do that, financial aid cannot be awarded. So it can't be awarded until after the verification period. So if you're in that situation, you have a couple of choices. One, you can pay for your classes outright, and then the refund that you do get from financial aid will be bigger. That would be in October-ish, middle-ish of October. The other option is to set up a tuition installment payment plan. We call it TIPS. And at this point, it requires 50% down, and then the rest of it is split into 2 payments over the course of the term. So if that's an option for you, you can do that. Either of those will hold your place in A-session classes. If none of those are a possibility, and for some of our students, I understand that that can be the case, then what you want to do is look for B-session classes, B12 session classes. So sessions, if you don't know about sessions, 2 seconds on that, is an A15 session is a regular session. It starts at the beginning of the term, goes to the end of the term, and it teaches 1 week's worth of material each and every week. If you're in a B12 or a C7 or an A7 or an A12, anything that doesn't have the number 15 attached to it, that's an accelerated course, meaning we're taking 15 weeks worth of material and we're cramming it into either 7 weeks or 12 weeks. So I always tell students, if it's something that you're super comfortable with and you like the idea of an accelerated class, you want to go super deep with English 1102 and go hard for 7 weeks, great. But it's going to feel like you're taking 2 classes because you're moving at more than 2 weeks of material every week. So be prepared for that and think about that when you sign up for classes. So often with new students or new-ish students, we recommend those A15 sessions. But just be mindful, if the A15 didn't work out for you because of financial aid, because you aren't able to pay out of pocket, B12s are a good in-between option. It gives us another few weeks to get your financial aid in order, and it's accelerated just a bit because you're covering the 15 weeks worth of material in the 12 weeks.
I'm so glad you talked about that. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, let me confirm. Yes, 100%. Same for us too. Those 7-week courses are no joke. Okay,
right.
You can do them. I mean, depends on the subject. I think if you are a strong writer, you're like, I can write essays in my sleep. Okay, yeah, you could wing it. I don't know about all of you, but I would personally, I would never take a 7-week math course. I want that slow and slow
and steady.
Yes, and help and.
And if you have to miss a class or you get the flu in a 7-week class, there's really just not time to catch up. Now, one exception on that too with the 7-week courses is if you are in a developmental education class, those are the classes that are not college level, but we're building up your math skill or your English skill. Now, those are designed to be a 7-week course or to be a 12-week course. So don't panic if you see that you're in a developmental course and it happens to be 7 or 12 weeks. That's the appropriate length of time for those courses.
Excellent question, Janice.
I do. Will the $25 application fee get you dropped from your classes? That's a great question. I believe if it's marked as a hold on your My FSCJ to-do list, it won't allow you to enroll in anything else. I don't believe the $25 application fee will get you dropped from your classes, but I don't know the answer to that 100%. I would say check in with the business office. Or it's now called student financials, though some of the signs still say business office.
I didn't know that. Okay, good to know. The name has changed.
The name has changed, Student Financials, though again, signs still say business office. But I would check in with them about that $25 fee. If you would like to, you can make payment online. So there is a way to pay that $25 fee without coming to campus if that's the issue for you. But at some point, you'll need to get that $25 fee paid. So go ahead and check in with the business office about that. Sorry, I don't have the final answer on the tip of my tongue.
Good question.
My classes are covered by DCF waiver, but financial aid covers my books and supplies. What do I do until then? Do professors understand this? Or
I can answer the professor part.
Okay.
You answer the first.
So if you have the DCF waiver that's covering your tuition, but it's not covering your books, I would say we need to start looking at whether there are any used books that you could afford to purchase on your own and then wait to get reimbursed by financial aid. If you do not have any finances that you can use in that way, I would say check in the libraries to see if we have copies on hand that you could check out or used copies that you can use. I don't know what you think about this, Rosalind, but I know
Go ahead.
Sometimes professors have copies of texts that they're able to lend out to students in situations like that.
So, yes. So I think, and then if Kim, if I'm getting your question correct, you're kind of asking, hey, what do I do if, just making sure that we got you right. What do I do if my class has started, the book's required, there's an assignment due Sunday from chapter 1, but my funds haven't come through yet to purchase the book? I think, is that what you're asking? Okay, so if it's a case where, yeah, like you be very clear in your email, exactly what you said, hey, my funds are covered by this waiver, I'm waiting on, I don't have this money yet, of course I'm going to work with you. I don't want to say like all faculty should work with you. They should, but I know that I personally definitely would. Yes, so maybe if it's an online course and it's digital, we can work with the publisher to get you access to like a temporary code, so you can have access to the book. Okay, good. She said yes. Ahead of time, while you're waiting to purchase it. And it just depends. Some of us professors do have like a copy or two in our office for students in emergency situations like this that you can borrow for a little bit. So yes, your professor should understand it and just let us know immediately. Like the second you know, uh-oh, I'm not going to get this money till week 2. It's out of your control, not your fault. Let your professor know ASAP. Email, phone call, face-to-face. You let them know in person. Yes, they should work with you. And a lot of times too, maybe sometimes the bookstore can get you access to like a chapter of a book or something, but there's ways to help with that. That was a good question.
Yeah, and also, come talk to an advisor one-on-one, because there may be some scholarships we can point you to apply for, and we can kind of brainstorm your issue together to make sure that you get access to what you need. I wanted to talk just for a minute about the website search tool. Again, we discussed this a little bit earlier about the fact that there is, that you can use Google to search our website, but we also have really nice navigation on our website. And I broke my own rule, which is, the rule is go search for it on the website first before asking somebody for it. And I break that rule all the time in my office. And fortunately, my colleagues are very friendly about that. But I did that earlier about about how to make the appointment with the librarian. But you'll see when you go on our website, there's the I'm looking for section. So you can go there and look at the drop down, and you'll have lots of choices to choose from there. There's also the little looking glass, which is kind of your Siri and your Google Maps and your Alexa all rolled into one. Wouldn't it be nice if we had one that talked to you and we could name it?
That would be great.
It'd be awesome. But in any event, we can't talk to it just yet. But use that search tool, because so many things like how do I buy my books? Where can I apply for scholarships? What are the hours of a particular office? What's my professor's email? I get that a lot. How can I email my professor? Well, you can look up your professors in the employee directory. You can find their emails and you can email them. So lots of great stuff right there on our website. How do you find out what books you need? Well, there's a few different ways, but one of them is when you go into your My FSCJ portal and you click on your class schedule, your classes are going to show up one at a time. And next to your class name or number is going to be a section number. And that section number is going to be hyperlinked in blue. So if you click on that hyperlink, you're going to open up more details about the class. And at the very bottom of the class, it will say course materials. You click on course materials and voila, it opens up and tells you what books you need. And I learned today that it's also a good idea to confirm that with your professor to make sure that it is the right book. But that's where it will be listed. So you can look there. We get lots of questions this time of year about book authorizations. So if you do have financial aid awarded to you, how do you purchase your books with a book authorization? Well, a certain amount of your funds will go onto your handy dandy ID card like this with the barcode, and you'll be able to use that at our bookstore to purchase your books. Now that book authorization is not a separate financial aid award. It's part of your award. They're just simply allowing you to use a portion of it at one of our bookstores. So whatever you use will reduce the total amount that you get back as part of your refund. You do want to make sure that you purchase your books within the window of the book authorization, if that's important to you to be able to use that book authorization. It's typically about 2 weeks before the term to 2 weeks after the term started. So for example, for fall of 2018, we're already in that book authorization period, and it's going to run through October 2nd. That means that if you're signed up for one of those C7 session classes that doesn't start until after October 2nd, you do want to buy your books early if you want to be able to use that book authorization. Okay. You can also order your books online, or you can purchase them in any of our bookstores. Do we have any questions on that stuff right now?
I don't know if it's a book question per se. I think, Kimmy, okay, I can answer this. So 3 of my classes require access codes. Okay, so great. Actually, that's even easier if it's something like that, Kimmy. So let your professor know, and then also with the publisher, your professor can ask the publisher to get you preliminary or like a temporary access code, so you can go ahead and start the course. And actually, you know what? I think that happens automatically. I think you can go ahead, and it's like, you can go ahead and access the course now, but heads up, you have to pay for it by X date, which is usually a lot later. So I think you're covered. I think you can go ahead, log in, have access to the course, just keep track of, when that's like, and you need to pay by this date. And then when you hit that date, if there's still an issue with your financial aid, let your professor know, they'll work with you. Do you want to try these 2 questions now? There's 2 questions here. Kabul, or was it Max maybe? Said, I have a previous
college loan. And now I'm paying all out of pocket, but now previous college loan is on a deferment payment because of the FSCJ reporting. How is that relevant to my other loans? That's one that I think I'm going to have to speak with you one-on-one about, to look at your account and see a little bit more about what's going on.
Okay.
Loans, you may want to check in with studentaid.gov to see what's going on with your loans there. If there's something in the My FSCJ page that says that you need to take care of in your to-dos, remember, holds and to-dos are something you want to look at all the time. And if it's telling you to go on and complete some deferment paperwork or complete loan entrance counseling or loan exit counseling, those are things that you need to take care of. And we'll let you know our end of it by posting it there in your to-do list. But beyond that, I'd say I'd need to talk with you one-on-one after, if you don't mind, so we can look up your account and see what you need to do. Right.
Yeah. Any of you that have like a deep dive question, we will help you. So like we can give you our emails. We'll work with you after when the webinar's over. So yeah, hang tight if we could answer your question. And then here's the next one by JJ.
Okay. So financial aid used to give a book allowance that would cover books for the courses, but that allowance does not always cover these costs anymore. Is there a reason for this? So I know there is an amount that's awarded per credit hour. And if there's been a change in how much that is, I wanted to say that it was $60 per credit hour, but then there's a cap on that. I don't know the answer to that. I would just say, if you're running into an issue where you have used your entire book authorization and you don't have funds to purchase a book, let's, again, brainstorm about what we can get you the ones you need, whether that's trying to check out the book from a library, whether it's trying to find a used copy online, borrowing a copy from a professor, those kinds of things to make sure you have the resources you need. But if there was a move to reduce that amount, I don't know what went into that.
Yeah, and JJ, we can, again, if you want to like give us afterwards, like your email, we can follow up with like a financial aid expert person here. Is it still Rachel?
So I'm downtown. I'm new to South. So
that's right.
I think it is.
I think, yeah. So I'm thinking I'm going to ask Rachel your question to give you a better answer. So let's make sure we get your contact information before you leave us. Janice, did we answer her question already? Is this a new one?
For my courses that start later this semester on Blackboard, it will say course materials, even though this is later in the semester.
Oh, my courses.
It will say course materials. So if you're in a C7 session class and you go into your portal and you click on the section number and then the course materials, it should list the books that you need, but the Blackboard piece, I'm not sure.
Blackboard, it will say course materials, even though it's later in the semester. Janice, can you ask that question for me in a different way, or what you're...
In other words, will it post on Blackboard even though it's a C7? Will it post now?
Oh, Yeah, like, are you asking when will you know what your course materials are? I'm going to let her follow up with what she's asking.
Okay.
Now. Let's see what Nija.
One of the items I need for a class cannot be found at the bookstore or be bought online. Is this a specific item I need to email my professor about?
Well, yes.
I think so, for sure. That's not very convenient, is it?
Yeah. So
yeah, they may not be aware that it's not available. They may
Yeah.
think that it's in the bookstore and it's not, or maybe it's gone out of print. So I would definitely check in with your professor. You might even get brownie points for being the first to bring it to their attention.
Absolutely. And that's happened. Like we're assuming on our end, everything's good to go. All our books are there. And I've had students like, so yeah, email your professor like right now. Go. Okay, so go email your professor right now. Hey, where do I find this book? So I do have to, so, okay, how about this? For example, in some of my courses, I give students the option to pick a book that they'd like to read. And so maybe like, obviously I'm not going to ask the bookstore to order like 20 nonfiction or fiction books.
Right.
I'll say, hey students, it's up to you, pick from like this list of 50. And then maybe the student, you know, buys the fiction book from Barnes & Noble, Amazon. They check it out for free from the library. That's one example I'm thinking of, but that might be an error that definitely follow up with your professor. Here's another one.
Cassidy says, how do we access our financial aid money to buy books? Well, first of all, that financial aid money has to be awarded. So you need to go into your FSCJ and look at your financial aid to see if the monies have been awarded. And if they have been awarded, and depending on how many credits you are in, you may have a book authorization. And if so, it should be on your handy dandy little badge like this, and you should be able to use this at the bookstore. So if your monies have not been awarded, then you would not have a book authorization yet. But if they have, then you should.
Okay. Janice.
Say the book I need, course materials before the course starts and bookstore closes.
Oh, wow. Okay, Janice, got you. Understood. Okay. So email your professor. That is a state requirement. We are supposed to have our book preferences, whatever, you know, uploaded to the bookstore months ago. Like for the fall term, they were due in April for us.
Okay.
So now sometimes classes get added late. I just had a class added to my schedule Friday, and I did the book order Friday. So that happens sometimes too. So Janice, yes, your book for that course should already be listed in the bookstore so you can meet that deadline. So email the professor. Say, hey, I have this deadline. You know, can you please let me know what the book is for this course? Because I don't see it listed in the bookstore. Make sure you include that little tidbit for your professor too. That's a little red flag to them so they know that something's up. Say the book I need. Okay, great. We got it. Keep going.
Okay. All right. So I want to take just a couple minutes to talk about whether you're in the right program. And that may sound sort of basic, but again, people come in, students come in having taken a semester or two of courses and find out that they're not in the program that they think they're in, or that the program that they think they're in won't enable them to do what they want to do. So let's break it down for just a minute. Most of you, I'm guessing, are in an AA or an AS program, Associate of Arts or Associate of Science. And those are different types of programs. So first of all, the AA is a general 2-year education plan. You're going to do primarily general ed classes, general education, we call them gen ed classes. And you may have already picked up, if you've met with an advisor, a sheet of courses that you can choose from to fulfill those gen ed requirements. That is a perfect degree to be seeking if you plan to transfer to a university. So if you want to go on and become a psychology major and you want to go on to UNF or UF or Harvard or Yale, anywhere you want to go, if you want to transfer, the AA is designed for you. So you're going to take your general education classes and then you get to build 8 classes approximately to your liking. So you're going to build that AA wisely. What do I mean by that? Well, 2 things. One, you're going to make sure that you have thought about the major that you intend to major in and the school that you intend to transfer to. Now, if you're applying to a few schools, we need to look at all of them. We need to cover our bases. And so for those general education classes, rather than choosing your 2 math classes willy-nilly, you're going to look and see what's required of you. So as a sociology major, I might look at the math classes and say to my advisor, what are the 2 easiest math classes here that could fill my gen ed requirements, which is probably exactly what I said. But if we stopped there, we'd be doing you a disservice, because if we know that you want to go on to a university and study sociology, we can take a look at the prerequisites that they require of folks who are coming in as juniors in the sociology major. And in all likelihood, we will see that they want you to have statistics. So statistics also counts as a gen ed class. So if I took my 2 easiest math classes and then figured out my prereqs later down the line, now I have to take a 3rd math class. And that's going to count as an elective. It's going to eat up units from my precious electives. So if we plan and we build that AA wisely, we can make sure that you take your statistics as one of your gen ed classes, and then your other math class can be the easiest math class you can find. Now you've got your requirements met, and you've saved those precious units of electives so that you can take the classes you want to take. All the, marriage and family, social problems, anything else you want to take that might be related to your field and that might help you down the line. So building that AA wisely. Well, the other thing I want to point out about the AA is it has no major attached to it. It's just an AA. And I don't mean just in any sort of pejorative way. I'm just saying it doesn't have a last name. It's Cher, it's Pink, it's, fill in the blank of some more relevant, cooler person. But it's something that doesn't have a last name. It's an AA. You may have your major in mind. You may have your transfer university in mind, and you should. But it's an AA. So if you're finding yourself saying, I'm getting an AA in criminology, I'm getting an AA in business associations, no, you're not. So you're either in an AS program or you're misunderstanding the AA. So it's really important that you know if you want to transfer to a university, you're in an AA program and you know what major you want and you're going to build your AA wisely. Now, if you're in an AS program, AS programs originally were designed to be 2-year programs, give you that initial college degree, but to do less general education, more in the field that you want to go into, so more of that professional development to put you to work sooner. So if you want an AS degree in business associations, you're doing less general education, you're doing more business classes, which may help you in if you're working part-time or full-time and you want to have those business classes sooner rather than later, then an AS in business associations would be a great major for you, or a great degree plan for you rather. Now, with our bachelor's programs, you can come in with an AA or an AS. So if your goal is to go on and then get a bachelor's here, you can do either program. But if you're doing that bachelor's in business administration, if you're doing the AS in business administration here, you don't want to make the mistake of thinking that that's necessarily going to be accepted as your first 2 years of college at a university. You've got to be cognizant of the fact that if you want to transfer to the university, the AA is the safest route to be. There are some exceptions to that in terms of statewide articulation agreements or other things like that. That would be a case where you'd want to sit with an advisor and make sure that the institution you want to take your AS to is going to accept it. Because generally speaking, if you want to go on to university, you want to be in the AA plan. Okay. Not sure what major you want. Let's say you're AA 30 credits in, but you have no idea what you want to do. Career advising. We have a whole department of career advising. I'll just career development. We have a whole department. We have folks on every campus, and they're not just there to do resumes and cover letters with you when you're ready to apply for jobs, but they're there to help you think about your future, about where growth is and what kinds of jobs you want to be setting yourself up for, so that we can start planning. And whether that's choosing your initial degree plan or whether that's within the AA, figuring out what you want to go on and do and figuring out what you're going to major in, the career development specialists can help you do that. So you can make appointments with them, and their appointments are within the My Life at FSCJ system. So if you're logged into My FSCJ, and then there's a tab that says My Life at FSCJ. That's where you can make appointments not only with career development, but also with student support specialists, and we'll talk about them in a minute. But if you go to the section, when you go into My Life at FSCJ, there's 4 sections. I believe it's the bottom left, says Insight. And that's where you can make an appointment, and you'll see the names of the folks and the departments, and you'll be able to make an appointment to see one of those people so that they can spend some time with you personally. Are we doing good on questions?
There's a few that's popped in.
Okay.
We can come back to them if you
Okay.
want to, or you want to, whatever you want to do.
Let's see. Well, if they're
So I am an English person, so I can't answer Nigel's question about two easiest math classes. So
I don't know if all the math professors really appreciate my saying it that way, but let me say it this way. I think of topics in college math and explorations in college math as the slightly softer, a little bit more for us liberal arts major math classes. So if you are not going on to do a STEM major, you can consider those two classes. If you're doing anything in terms of science, technology, engineering, math, medical field, you want to take intermediate algebra and then college algebra. College algebra will be your gen ed class, and then you'll need to take one more gen ed class in the math category. That's if you're in the AAA. But we'll want to look, if you're going on to do something that requires more math, then we may need to add that in as a prerequisite or as an elective. But if you're going to something that has nothing to do with math, you're going to be an art history major, and you are just, you know, looking for those liberal arts type classes, then topics in college math and explorations in math are probably for you.
Nice. And JJ's giving some tips too. It's even, it's so wonderful when you all help each other
Very
too.
Cool.
So yeah, if you've got someone who's been through some math classes, ask them. JJ has a tip there as well. We have a question from did we miss? Oh no, Kimmy. Did we answer this question already?
a degree in nursing. Wouldn't that require to be an AS program?
Okay, so yes, the AA and nursing, that's a great question. So our AS program in nursing is not a program that you can directly enroll yourself into. So we do have, even though we're an open access college, you can enroll yourself into the AA program, and you can enroll yourself into many of our AS programs. Some of our AS programs are what we call limited access or selective access. It means the same thing, and what it means is that you cannot enroll yourself directly into it. If you try to do that, your application will sit in limbo, and that's not a good place to be. So what you would want to do is enroll yourself in the AA, and if you've already tried to enroll yourself in something else, you have the power to change your program plan in your portal. If you have any trouble with it, an advisor can help you. But you'd want to be in the AA long enough to complete all of the prerequisites that are necessary for the nursing program, to apply to the nursing program. So some people choose to finish the AA entirely and then go on and get their AS in nursing, and some choose just to stay in the AA long enough to complete those prerequisite courses. To apply to the nursing program, there's a group of courses you need to take. In addition, you need to take the HESI exam and the CPR certification, complete all of those, and then complete an actual application that goes off to the program. And then they then select students to go into that program. If you don't get into the program, you're still in the AA, and you can finish your AA, or you can look at other AS degrees that have to do with the medical field, but at least you're in a program. Hope that answers your questions.
And there's, can we get past these?
I just completed my AS degree, and I'm continuing with a bachelor now with FSCJ. That's right.
Yes, at FSCJ, the wonderful thing about our bachelor's programs, we do have 13 of them now, is that you can come in with an AA or an AS or any 60 credits of transferable credit. So that is a really nice factor for our programs, is that you can do the AS, you can get more of that professional experience up front, but still go on and complete your bachelor's if you would like to do that. So I'll talk for a couple minutes now about work-life balance. We talked about it a little bit earlier in the first half of the session. This is what I would say about it. Clear the decks to every extent that you can. And I think that's really part of embracing your identity as a college student. So it's a time to be just a little bit selfish if you can. Now, if you're a mom or dad, you may not be able to do that. But if you don't have to work, don't. If you don't have to be doing things that are not related to school, don't. This is your time. It may be your only time to be a college student. So embrace everything you can. There's so much going on. If there's a lecture you want to attend, if there's Outside research you can do. If your professors mention some events going on, go to those. Embrace your identity as a college student and clear the decks, because it's super important, not only that that you complete every class, but that you're successful in it, right? And we want to be realistic. We talked again a little bit about the hours that you're going to need in order to be successful. I would usually think of each 3-unit class as 10 to 12 hours of my time. We talked about this again, so that's 3 hours in the seat and then at least 7 studying. So clear the decks. Most people are not going to be able to be enrolled in 4 courses and work 40 hours a week and sustain it in any sort of successful way. Most of us can't sustain 80 hours a week. So think about it and be realistic. If you're the person who's already doing so much that you can only take 1 class at a time, that's okay. That's where you are, and that's what your life will allow, and that's what's so nice about FSCJ being customizable. On the other hand, if you can take a full load, and it sounds from the beginning of our session today that a lot of you are, that's great, because studies do show if you can take at least 1 full-time semester, or term rather, 1 full-time term, you're more likely to reach your end goal. So, and again, I think that part of that being full-time is really embracing your identity and making it one of the most important things in your life right now. Being successful is not just important on the academic side of the house, it's also important on the financial aid side of the house. So let me talk about that for a quick minute. What is SAP and why do you need to meet it? Well, SAP is satisfactory academic progress, and there are 3 prongs to it. So number 1, you've got to be at a 2.0 GPA or better. Number 2, you need to be successful in 67% of your courses. And number 3, once you reach 150% of the credits you need for your program, your financial aid is going to cut off. So you don't want to be taking classes willy-nilly, not paying attention to what you're taking. You want to make sure that everything you're taking is relevant to your program plan, right? So that that 150% rule never impacts you. There's also something called an excess credit surcharge that can happen when you transfer to universities. So another reason why you don't want to take classes willy-nilly. You want to plan your classes out, and one of the best ways to plan your classes out is to come see an advisor in person if possible. We can create what's called an early degree plan, which is mapping out 2 terms for you, or an academic degree plan where we map out every course that you're going to take over the 2 years or however long your program is going to take. So back to SAP and why you need to meet it. That 2.0 GPA and the 67% success rate may not sound difficult to meet, but I want you to think about this. Let's say I enroll in 2 courses and I withdraw from one of them. I'm at a 50% success rate. That's not what I need in order to continue receiving financial aid. We've got to be at a 67% rate to continue receiving financial aid. So being successful in every single class we enroll in is key. And how do we do that? By clearing the decks, by embracing our identity, by setting aside our study time. So 2.0 GPA and 67% success rate, and planning our courses so that we never hit that 150% rule. This doesn't seem terribly in order, but real quick, online, hybrid, and face-to-face courses, we talked about them earlier. People tend to be more successful in the seat. Studies show when we're in the seat, when we're working with a professor live, we tend to be more successful. So if you have that opportunity, if you want to offer it that way, if your life won't allow for it, well, then that's okay because we have other options available. But know that you're going to need to be a little bit more diligent. You know, we don't care how you dance when no one's watching, but we care how you study when no one's watching when it comes to online courses or hybrid courses, because you've got to monitor yourself, turn off the phone, get the distractions out of your way, because know that you're putting yourself in a slightly more challenging situation. So you want to be really diligent about your studies there when you're in those online or hybrid courses. Any questions about that stuff? No?
I don't think so.
Okay, I know we're reaching the end of our time. Do we have a little bit more?
I have an appointment at 3.
Okay.
So just
about 5 more minutes?
touch on those.
Okay. So another piece I wanted to touch on is just staying in track if anything gets in your way. If life gets in your way, come see us. Come see your advisor as your first point of contact. We can put you in touch with the many other resources in our office. So we talked about Career services, we've talked about tutoring a little bit. We do have tutoring live in our libraries. We also have it available online. So the minute you start feeling behind in something, you need to be reaching out for that extra assistance, because you don't want to be in a position where you aren't successful in a course. In addition, we have success coaching. Our success coaches are amazing, and what they do is work with you not only on your time management, but also on your style of learning. So figuring out if you're an auditory learner or visual learner, what your best modes of study are going to be. And if you've been away from school for a long time, it would be great to be proactive. Reach out and have a few sessions with a success coach early on. Another thing that we have our student support. So if you're new to college and in high school you had an IEP plan or a 504 plan, you're going to want to make sure to see a student support services person so that you can get that all set up and on file. I know sometimes folks say, oh, I don't want to use it at college. You don't have to, but let's get our ducks in a row early in the term before anything's an issue. Get to know your student support person on campus so that they can assist you if anything comes up. Again, we're going to make appointments with our success coaches and our student support services through Insight. That's going to My FSCJ, My Life at FSCJ, and then clicking on Insight, which is usually at the lower right-hand corner of the screen. Lastly, the student support people will help you with all sorts of stressors that may go on in your life, whether it's just the stress of being in college for the first time or being in college after a long period away. We also have all sorts of resources both in the community, and you're entitled to counseling services and all sorts of things as a student here. We even have a food pantry on our downtown campus and our south campus. So if you're food insecure and your financial aid money isn't here, we have up to 5 pounds of food per day per student. So don't hesitate to reach out, and you can help us spread the word if you know others who are in that situation. If you do get into trouble with a class and you're thinking about dropping or withdrawing, let's talk for just a hot minute about what the difference is. First of all, you don't have long to drop a course. It's about a week, maybe a day or so more. All of the dates are listed in your Fall at a Glance page, which again, we should be able to find online, but if not, maybe we can post on this afterwards. You can certainly email me for it. You can get it at any of your student service offices. We have the Fall at a Glance dates, and that'll show you not only the dates when tuition is due and the term starts, but also dates when you can drop without penalty. And dropping without penalty means it wouldn't show up on the transcript at all. It's as if you didn't take the course. It's without penalty. You would be issued a refund after they have a little bit of processing time, but you would be issued a refund on that. A withdrawal is a different kind of exit from a course. A withdrawal can happen because you got in over your head, because life got in the way, in a way in which you cannot rectify. So if you can rectify it with a little bit of extra tutoring or changing other things, we strongly encourage you to do that. You don't want a withdrawal if you don't have to have one. You don't want that W on your transcript if you don't have to have it. The W is not counted against you on the academic side of the house, but it does count as a course that you did not successfully complete when we're talking about that financial aid side of the house, when they're running that SAP calculation. So you don't want to withdraw from 4 courses and have 4 Ws there. That's a lot of credits not completed successfully. So come talk to us before making that decision. Don't just ignore it. Don't just stop showing up for a course. That's the absolute worst thing we could possibly do. But come in, let's talk about what your options are. Let's talk about whether we can split the baby if we need to and keep you in some classes and withdraw from others. Let's get with our professors, talk to them about what we might be able to do to make up any missed work and make sure that we can complete those classes successfully if at all possible. If you have to withdraw, you can do that up to a period of time. Again, on that Fall at a Glance page, you'll see the date at which point you can no longer withdraw, and you're simply going to get what you get in the course. So drops and withdrawals, making sure that you talk with us, brainstorm with us. Your advisors want to help you. We want to help you come up with a plan if you're in that situation. And there's always sort of a better and worse way to go about withdrawing from courses. So let's make sure we discuss that before you take action.
Absolutely.
Appeals, we can't advocate for you, and I learned that the hard way. A little hand slap. We can't advocate for you, but we can assist you by providing you the materials you need if you do need to appeal any sort of situation, either with a grade or you want to appeal why you withdrew at a certain date, or whatever the case may be. We're going to talk to you about that one-on-one, let you know what the terms of that appeal are, what you need to submit, and that kind of thing. Lastly, I'll just say appointments with your academic and career advisors. So with your academic advisors, QLess. It's all about QLess. I hope every one of you has downloaded QLess. It's absolutely amazing. QLESS.
That's what I was about to type it for them.
QLESS. It's an app. So if you have a smartphone, you can simply download it, allow it to use your location. I know I usually keep location off on everything because I'm always worried about my privacy. But on this one, you want to allow it to use your location. And the nice thing about downloading the full app is you can look at that and it will tell you the wait time at every single one of our campuses. So if you then want a phone appointment, you can see that, this campus only has a 5-minute wait and this campus has a 37-minute wait. I can check in for a phone appointment on a campus that I maybe have never been to, but I can still get the services that I need over the phone. So through QLess, you can get phone appointments or in-person appointments. You can see your wait times. You can check in online. So if I want to see somebody today, but I look at my campus and I want to go in person, but there's an hour-long wait, I can check in while I'm doing my hair. I can check in while I'm getting a bite at the cafeteria or while I'm studying, whatever's going on. Yeah, you can tell I spend a lot of time on my hair, right? But you can check in and you're not trapped in our offices anymore. You're not trapped in our lobbies, which is really a great thing. You'll get email notification however often you ask QLess to email you to let you know that you're moving up in the line. You'll get emailed or texted to let you know that you're at the front of the line and somebody's ready to see you. So QLess is a wonderful app. Do download it, QLESS. Download it onto your phone so you've always got it there. Your appointment with your advisor is typically 25 minutes, so make the most of it. Think about all the questions that you have for us. Come in prepared, knowing your login and your password. We end up wasting an incredible amount of time resetting student passwords to get into their portal. So we hate to use up 5 or 10 minutes of our 25-minute session doing that. So be sure before you come to see us, log into your portal, take a look at any of your holds and to-dos, make sure you've got your password ready to go so that we can make the most of that session. And the last thing I want to say is that slower seasons are a great time to plan, because in a slower season, we may be able to spend far more time with you going over all your hopes, dreams, fears, you name it, because we have a little bit more time. So right now, people are scrambling to get into classes, but in a few weeks, that won't be the case. That would be one of those slower seasons where we would encourage you to come on in and talk to us for a more in-depth session.
Is the college closed Monday? Checking that question. I mean, we're holiday.
I believe it is.
Okay, so a question from Nigel. So if your Monday, Wednesday class
would start on Wednesday.
Your first class is Wednesday. So still check online just in case if it's a class where they want you to look at something before you meet on Wednesday, but your first class meeting would be Wednesday. And then there's a question. They want your email, but we can do that. I can type that later.
We'll type it up. Okay.
Anything else? That was it?
That's it. That's all I've got.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, good stuff.
We're so excited to have you all here. Thanks for letting us pontificate at you, and thanks for doing a webinar with us.
Yeah, we went longer. It's our first one. We assumed
10 minutes over.
Yeah.
Oh no, 42 minutes over.
Woo!
Sorry, guys.
We just want to keep talking.
Okay. Yeah.
And you stayed with us. So again, this was our first one. We guessed like hour, but yeah, I mean, it works out. So we'll know to tell people longer next time. Okay. All right. Last call for questions. I'm watching the text chat. And then Lisa, what is the email that you want for me to type in for them?
It is Lisa.
Oh, hold on.
Question?
Nothing's happening.
Okay.
Lisa.
.desanctis, DESANCTIS at fscj.edu. Not related to Ron DeSantis. Lots of questions about that right now.
Oh, funny. Oh, no. All right. So in the text chat, there's Lisa's email, so you can reach her directly with your questions. And then, of course, if Lisa doesn't happen to know like the exact financial aid question you have, she knows who to ask, where to go. So if you're here, definitely reach out to her. I see a question from Dylan. Do we have to go in and put something in for Blackboard, or will it automatically, automatic, Dylan? It just, on my side, when, like, whoever your professors are, like, when we're ready, we, on the behind the scene, behind the house, back of the house, we just click make course available, and it shows up. So no, you don't need to do anything. Yeah. And then JJ's listing some advisors.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're leaving too. She said thanks, and I just leaving.
We're out.
Bye.
Okay.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Well, thank you all so much, and that's all we've got. All right. Have a wonderful fall term. Let these tips sink in so you start out on the right foot, and you are a model student for your professors and for your classmates. All right. Oh, wonderful. Hi, Zephyr, Robert. So new names at the end. All right. Bye, everybody. We're going to log off.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye. All right.